Hey there, H here, and you definitely can't tell from this angle, but it is an extremely rainy day outside. I thought, why not make a video? It's been a long time. So, here's my question for you. There's a thing behind me. I don't know if you could hear that. I just ran into it, and now my elbow hurts a little bit, but that's fine. I'll get over it. Anyway, if I told you you could make $100,000 today, just by telling me how many seconds were left on a clock, would you take that bet? Roll the intro. Alright, $100,000 on the line. All you've got to do is figure out exactly how much time is left on a clock within 1 second. Not so bad, until you realize that my clock is this. Starting to see some problems, I'm sure. Before we go there though, let's clarify some ground rules. Number one, this timer is 1 minute and 30 seconds. I've timed it over and over again, and it dispenses its liquid in about, on average, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now look, I understand that might make this a little unfair, because what if we get something that's not around the average? For the sake of the argument, for the sake of this video, for the sake of making my life easy, please, let's just assume that it's going to be 1 minute and 30 seconds. And we'll just keep that as parameter number one. Parameter number two, just so nobody accuses me of cheating, I will let you know that when we dispense this liquid, when I flip this over, it will start at a much faster rate than when it finishes. There, I said it, you can't accuse me of cheating later. And item number three, let's just remember, I am a teacher. I do not make enough money to give you $100,000. So even if somebody does miraculously get within 1 second of the correct answer, I'm sorry, you don't actually get $100,000 because I'm poor. I don't have that money to give you. Okay, all three ground rules and parameters have been established. Oh, no, they haven't. Fourth parameter. This is where I flip everything upside down on its head. Get it? Flip everything upside down. Okay, anyway, let's make it interesting. I'm going to put you outside of a room. I'm going to put this inside of the room. I'm going to close the door so you can't see it. You'll have no idea when I flip this timer over. Zero idea. When I invite you back into the room, it'll be mid-time. And you'll have to tell me upon entrance, looking at this as quickly as you can, no hesitations, how much time is left on that clock. There's parameter number 4. See, isn't this interesting? So let's do it. Next time you see this, I'm going to invite you back in the room, so to speak. And upon entry, you need to tell me your guess of how much time is left on the clock. Okay? Anybody who guesses and they happen to be within 1 second, $100,000 to you. And a big pat on the back. Congratulations. So let's do it. Let's have some fun with this thing. All right, next time you see this, it'll be mid-timer. Here we go. And welcome back. I've just started my timer. So quick, make that guess. I've paused the video so you can record it or say it or guess, but we're beyond that point now. Okay, anybody who said 20 seconds, congratulations, you're out. Some background music, hopefully I found some actual music for this without getting a copyright strike. Anybody who said 37 seconds, you're now out. Ooh, it's getting tricky here. How much time will remain on this clock? Anybody who said 50 seconds, you're now out. We're getting close. A tiny bit of liquid left at the top. We're going to wait for that last drop to fall. Anybody who said a minute, 5 seconds, 65 seconds, you're out. The last drop was 1 minute and 15 seconds, also known as 75 seconds. Congratulations if you said 75 seconds, not 76, not 74, 75 seconds. You have just won $100,000. It was exciting. It was a good run. Some of you may have even just won. However, I'm going to bet that a large majority of you had the not right answer. Maybe you said, maybe you said 76. Maybe you said 74. And you know what? You got close, but you didn't hit it on the money. So why? Why didn't you hit it? Why didn't you get $100,000 in that time? Well, I think to answer that question, we need to look at another scenario. We need to use another measuring device. I'm feeling generous. I'm going to go do something that should hopefully hedge your bet a little bit. It should make this a little bit easier for you. So, let's go take a look at
this. Because if I switch to this, suddenly everything changes. I mean, okay, hold on. Just imagine this. You're outside the room and suddenly, boom! You come back in the room and you know that there's exactly 46 seconds left on that clock the second you walked back in, right? This one is so much clearer. Why? Yeah, I know, it's right. See, the annoying part is I'm about to tell you to pause and talk about it, and you're frustrated because it is so much more, you just know it's intuitive. You know exactly why it's easier, right? But go ahead, talk about it. I'll wait here. And when you come back, I'll let you know. Okay, good. So we're back. 11 seconds left. It's so much clearer because it's so much more precise. This is a precise measuring device. Dang. Right? It's a precise measuring device. This is so much more precise than the clock that we had before when we flipped it over. Why? Because now we have intervals. We've got measurements that are showing us the intervals. The seconds are actually visible to us. So we're not making some wild estimate of full to empty and, oh, we were somewhere in between, right? We can actually see now that if we were to reset our clock at a minute and 30 seconds, at a minute and 30 seconds, boom, right? We now have every single second labeled. This is a layer of precision. So this clock is way more precise and therefore way more accurate than our other clock. Okay? So if we actually switch to a totally different clock, I mean, look, when this guy gets going, this is far more exciting because now there's one thing here that was not there before. Look at that. Look at that. Milliseconds. Oh my gosh, if you had this at your disposal, you wouldn't even have to wait anymore to make a guess between each second, right? So like if you knew that the top of my head was a minute and 6 and the bottom of my head was a minute and 5 and there were no milliseconds like our other clock, you kind of just had to guess when you were halfway between. But now you've got a millisecond indicator. We've got so many more measurements to take a look at. This is far more precise than anything we've looked at so far. Okay? It turns out that all of this boils down to taking the guesswork out of your data. And the more measurements that you have to look at, the more precise your measurement is. So it leads us to this incredible topic of significant figures, affectionately called Sig Figs. Guys, you're gonna love Sig Figs. We're gonna use them for everything. I mean everything. They're gonna populate our entire chemistry course. So we're gonna get really good at them. Now, before I go into Sig Figs and how to use them and their rules, here's what I want to take away so far. We want to remember that when we have something that's like this, it has very little precision, right? So if I had a marker up here, my marker would say 1 minute and 30 seconds. And down at the bottom of this well, we would have 0 seconds. There's nothing in between. This is a very low, precise measurement tool. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means that the best you can do is guess how much time is in between these two markers, right? We know intuitively that somewhere on here there are levels for how many seconds would be left, but they're not marked. So this is very imprecise. So if I had to guess right now, I would kind of guess that we have 45 seconds remaining on this, right? So how would we write that down if we were going to write it with data? We would say that there's 45 seconds left, right? I can't put any more numbers on it because I'm guessing, right? That 45 is a blatant guess. It's between 1 minute and 30 and 0 seconds. So that's as far as I can go. However, if we pull this guy back up, right? Now I don't necessarily have marked millisecond intervals on here, but I know that I'm somewhere right now between like 103, 102, 101. So I've got a much more precise measurement here. I can probably make a pretty good guess that when that clock says 45, right, and we're coming up on that, when that clock were to read 45, boom, we could record that as not just 45 this time because we saw that there's 45 seconds, and on the other side of that we saw that there'd be 44 seconds, right? So now we know that we're in between 45 seconds, and I can take a guess. My guess is that when that clock turned to 45, it was probably 45 point, well actually, right, because it's counting down, we went 46, 45, and the second it turned 45, I could take a guess at the decimal behind it. I could take a guess at that millisecond, right? This is way more precise than what we had with this guy. Although this guy is fun, I like him a lot. It's okay there, buddy, there. The last one that we took a look at was this timer, right? And when we have this timer set for 10 seconds in this case, right? The second that it turns to something, now I as a human, this would be hard because the clock would be running continuously. You don't have fast enough vision to catch all of these exact markers. But look, in this instance, if we could somehow have super fast processing brain, we could watch all of these milliseconds tick down, right? We could watch them continue to tick down. And so now we would know that on our clock there's 6.117 seconds and 6.116 seconds. We're in between that time frame. So now I've got way more sig figs, right? So let's just pretend instead of 6 seconds, it said 45.117, right? How would I record that? I would go 45.117, and now I get a guess because I know that I'm in between 117 and 116 somewhere. So I would guess 1175. That's way more sig figs than I've had in either of these two things. So what we're starting to understand is that the more precise your instrument is, the more accurate you can measure something, the more precision you have when you record your data. The next step is then to look at all of this and figure out how do I do math with this, right? Because part of data analysis is not tweaking your data, but taking your data and looking at it and kind of analyzing it and interpreting it. And so that usually involves some math. So that's kind of our next step. We're going to look at how do I take, for instance, if I had to add 45 seconds to 45.1175 seconds, how do I do that? Here's your hint. We can only go with the lowest level of precision available. Because if I'm adding this guy, which was a pretty big guess, to something that was extremely accurate. Unfortunately, I don't know that this was a good guess, and therefore it's going to cloudy or muddy up or taint the data, even if it's really, really good data, because I'm limited by the fact that I don't know how precise that measurement was. So we're going to look at that. That's where we're headed. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up here because this is getting a little long, and honestly, I think it's going to just be a better video for the rules of Sig Figs when we get there. So, for now, this has been Mr. H. Over and out. I'll see you guys later. Come on, this is just fascinating. I love these things. My nephew is the best. This is so cool. I could do this all day. So let's just duplicate this and we'll get the other one back up here. The magic of editing online. I can totally fix that. But I need to go to classroom timers. Do 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 do.
So you got $100,000 on the line. Like I said, all you got to do is figure out how much time is on a clock for the Okay, strike that. Here we go. I feel good about that one. That was good.